Well, without going into the very mind-boggling detail of international terrorism and counter-terrorism campaigns in the world, and the character, the genesis of them, and the execution of operations, the fact is that the terrorism is usually a bogey. It's usually a word, a term bandied out by any regime that is besieged with issues of social justice at whatever level. Globally, you will agree with me that the terrorism narrative is mainly attributable to the Western regimes, where they execute the counter-terrorism campaign as a response to legitimate grievances and quests for justice by societies which feel or whose resources the West seeks to control and dominate. At a minuscule level, the same narrative can be witnessed, brought down to our level, where again terrorism is the narrative that it comes to feature in regions or areas where the societies claim marginalization. The societies can speak and want to seek justice about, over historical injustice issues. And at the bottom line here is the resources. Now, a clear answer to that quest is never forthcoming, because the answer would be to give a lasting solution, to come up to address issues of inequality, issues of economic marginalization, issues of political disenfranchisement. And what we see now is actually not just a counter-terrorism campaign. It's a campaign to counter insecurity issues by confusing the security dynamics. And I'm saying this. Look at our past, just the recent past. We've had opportunity, even utilizing the Constitution as promulgated in 2010, to come up with a thorough reform of the security sector, to be able to address the security issues that we are now saying are bedeviling our nation and are almost at an explosion. We have not. We have totally defied the constitutional obligations that we have of reform. We have refused to clearly come up with structures that move us from the past security, or rather patronage security-based, a security system that was based on patronage, to one that is based on human security, to one that is based on democratic practices. And we still want to cling to a regime control security apparatus, which in itself means then that security has to be controlled from a center where everybody else has to conform or be crushed. And that then is a big dilemma for a nation that wants to take off. What it sires? It sires a state of insecurity of the security system itself. The security system feels threatened, feels besieged. It is threatened, its own very existence is brought to question. And in trying to counter that the threat to the existence of a regime that is based on a conform mentality, what happens is that it sires extra security apparatus. And that's why you find that we resort to security cartels which are operated outside the main security lines. So we can even overnight decide we are going to have citizens formations handling our security. And to do that, we also have to create justifications for that within society. So therefore we find those justifications will come in addressing very visible social issues. We will justify the formation of an anti-Mungiki squad, for instance, with a statement that Mungiki have become a social menace. But even to make the Mungiki become a social menace, what we do is that we infiltrate the Mungiki deeper and start creating real issues that are going to make the citizens come up and say this Mungiki now has become a total, menace. They start beheading. And I'm not shying away from saying even the beheadings that we saw a couple of years back that were attributed to Mungiki were very questionable. We will still want to be saying that we want answers to questions about the role of the anti-Mungiki squad, not just in countering so-called Mungiki youth, but also in hacking down their own security security colleagues. And that is the character of every extra judicial security apparatus the world over, where you create, within, to counter the mafioso, you come up with an organ that is not answerable to the legal channels and all the administrative hierarchy of the security apparatus. And it has within it outsource citizen inputs which are not controlled within the disciplined order. And that's what we've had, even in this country, in the recent past. Name it, say anti-Mungiki, the Kwekwe, go to the Rhino, go to whoever. And that has been the character of even the anti-terrorism police unit.
Are you saying the terrorism we are seeing in the country is state-sponsored?
It is manufactured. It is, to a large extent, manufactured. That, yes, apart by state persons domiciled within the state or who have state power, or state consent of some kind. What we are saying is that there are people or groupings, social groupings, which are claiming their social, seeking to address the social grievances through claims like jihad claims. But they do not know that they are unwittingly playing to a very well choreographed plot. This is a choreographed plot. The state of insecurity that we are seeing is playing to the hands of some manufacturers who have a stake in the chaos economy. We are now moving to a warlord-based economy if we don't watch out.
And what do these individuals within the state stand to gain in the chaos?
A lot. At the very bottom of this is the resources that are in this country. When we are now talking of finds of gas and oil finds, that is when these issues are going to escalate, and they're escalating. When you're talking about rare earth in the coast and the northeastern, and the north of Kenya, these security problems are escalating. The logical progression of that is that in where these security operations are going to be centered all in mass scales that we're going to have large swaths of the country under some sort of security operations, then the persons in charge of security are the people who will determine where the contracts go. And go to the history of any resource, rich area in Africa, in the Middle East, or wherever, even the old West, and see how the security mapping has always been. Look at Nigeria, for instance. The whole question of Boko Haram is an issue of the Nigerian resources. Fuel. Not that there wasn't, there wasn't resource conflicts based on resources even before Boko Haram. But Boko Haram came in at a time when the narrative had changed from the old issues now to the terrorism age, where the terrorism narrative is the new bogey for resource control. So a group coming in and claiming that we are Muslims who do not want to abide by secular education but want to go by the Islamic education. Ordinarily, that's not a group that would even scare anyone. But why was it made to scare everyone? It was made to scare everyone. It was hyped, puffed up to monster scales, so that everybody now will be seeking to be protected from the Boko Haram. And that's what is happening. And that's why, at the end of the day, you even have generals, military generals, who have allegiances to Boko Haram. They do not have anything to do with Islam at all. Who do not even have who don't give a damn about the Quran. But they are there, very well healed in Boko Haram. Boko Haram grew from a small unit, a small Islamist, quote-unquote Islamist, because that's still the language of counter-terrorism and terrorism. A small group of fellows who sit in mosques and say, we just want to read Kitab, and their Kitab is haram. Their book is haram. It's not good for us. We have our own book. What would you care about if you are really a democratic society? You would say, grant it to them, as long as they do not infringe on the rights of other citizens. But see, what you want to say, these are dangerous characters, we have to mow them down. And you go at them. And on the other side, you are arming them. That is a similar thing that you see cyclically happening everywhere else. If you look at Uganda, for instance, you'll even ask yourself what happened to the Allied Defense Forces, ADF, and why they had to move into the Congo forest, and why now they are a proscribed terrorist organization, yet they were the Allied Democratic Forces. There's no Islamic organization, there's an Islamist, to use that language again, that will claim democracy as an answer. But that was a grouping, Allied Democratic Forces. Finally, it is pushes itself into the Congo forest and dominates. It has an area where it's domiciled, a very resource-rich area. And it is now in the list of international terrorist organizations. If anybody has senses, they will tell you, they'll know why. The Congo and minerals, the Congo and all the resources. Western Uganda again. Sudan, South Sudan and Sudan. Now, come back here. Our security situation has deteriorated over the years with the coming of strange characters into this country. Over the years, not without the knowledge of the Kenya government. And if you ask me about the strange characters, you just don't want to look any further than the regions that we are speaking from now, the south coast of Kenya and the north coast of Kenya. Who controls those areas, the coastline? And why have those fellows operated with carte blanche to do whatever they please?